Awesome. So just welcome to everyone again. My name is Crispet Cowie, and I will be your co-host for today in the background, answering the chat as well as supporting with any links that you may need as the session is going forward. I want to take an opportunity to say thank you to Ryan and our team for putting this session together. As you know, we are very proud to keep bringing granting and funding information to you all, and we've committed on a monthly basis. When we know, when we find, when we discover, we come and share. And as you all probably know, there's tons of grants out there. But based on who's in our database and the types of things that we're seeing, really giving you all an opportunity to plug in. And if you are part of an industry that we do not cover, we definitely give you an opportunity to meet with us one-on-one so that we can also search for grants for you. We are grant writers, but more importantly, Ryan will say we are grant hunters as well. So we're really excited for the challenge and being able to come to you all on a monthly basis to share what we found. So just to kind of give you a little overview about who we are and what's going to happen over the last little bit. As folks are coming into the room, they will be muted. The ask is if you're not speaking, please remain muted, and we are able to you're able to raise your hand, you're able to put some questions in the chat, and we do leave some time for a Q&A at the end. So we're really excited to support you in this way. And this is a safe environment. We want to be respectful of everyone that is present with us here. So just before we get started, really wanting to give you a moment to acknowledge the land acknowledgement in solidarity with our Indigenous brothers and sisters. If you do not know, today is International Indigenous Day, and we're really excited and hopeful of the progression that the Indigenous community is making. And we at EmpoweredFX have been able to partner with different organizations to support Indigenous entrepreneurs as well. So we're really happy to be part of a system of change. Just to give you a little overview of EmpoweredFX, one of the facilitators of the sessions today, as the founder of EmpoweredFX, really the focus and primary objective is to help entrepreneurs be more successful in the things that they're doing. We support entrepreneurs from ideation to commercialization, providing them with training and consultants to help them grow their business in an effective way. One of the things that we hone in on is really looking at social entrepreneurs in particular. And if you're not familiar with what a social entrepreneur is, in my own definition, I would say it is an entrepreneur that is on mission to make a positive impact. And so we support entrepreneurs from the nonprofit spectrum, those that are in the nonprofit space looking to establish an entity to generate revenue to help with their sustainability. And we also support entrepreneurs in the for-profit space who are really looking to develop a purpose-driven entity. So looking at how, yes, we're making revenue, but looking at how we can make a stronger impact. And you'll learn a little bit more about what we're doing in those spaces as well. So just to give you a little overview, we have certifications and training programs that are subsidized that can help you move your business forward. We also offer training to help you develop the capacity to do the work that is needed to help your business grow and flourish in that way. Other things that we have is virtual offices. As I mentioned, our consulting team, and ever growing, really an opportunity to support you in a one-on-one capacity. We love to talk about having the shift, right? Going from DIY, where you're doing everything yourself, to modify, making others do it for you. And our team raise our hand to say we want to do it for you and with you. as you progress on your entrepreneurial journey. One of the things that we do promote is our BizGrams, really giving you an opportunity to come meet with us, myself in particular, and tell your story. I see Jaisal in the audience, and Jaisal, you were the first BizGram guest, apart from Ryan. Ryan and I were doing talks and interviews before, but when I really launched out there, Jaisal, you were the first. So I appreciate you, and it's great to know that you're doing amazing things still in the community. So I appreciate that. Just to give you a little insight about some of the upcoming events, we have a virtual and in-person yoga session happening. It's kind of like highlight for September. August 23rd, we're in partnership with ACBN and Sheridan College. There's a clean tech program that's being offered to Black entrepreneurs. Really, if you all are not paying attention, for those of you that just came in, I was just talking about, it's great to see Tim's AI. So technology is at the forefront, right? AI, innovative space such as clean tech. If you're not aware or looking to transition, looking at future opportunities, the world is not going to remain as we know it 5, 10, 15 years ago. Even last year, 2023, a lot of shifts have happened, and it's imperative that we know what's happening in our industry so that we're able to adjust and move accordingly. And so, again, I talked about that DIY to modify. There's a couple of services that we offer to support entrepreneurs, anything from our free info sessions, which you're part of. We have a program called Grant Hunter U, where it's really about building your capacity as a grant writer, looking at getting you a funding summary, blueprint, reviews, and we have our working groups. And if, we understand time is of the essence, you cannot do everything. And that's where, ultimately hiring one of our grant writers to do the work with you and for you to help you move the dial forward. So just to give you a little bit of overview, what's to come next. So you're gonna get a chance to connect with Ryan and learn about some of the funding opportunities that are available and then how we can help moving forward. So Ryan, the floor is yours.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Chris. Let me know if it's coming through all good. Thumbs up. Thank you, thank you. For those that don't know me, my name is Ryan Knight. I do consider myself a serial social entrepreneur. So I do run a few social enterprises, namely the Detailing Knights, which is a mobile waterless car cleaning service. So we support entrepreneurs, or we go to people's houses and clean their cars without using water and our plant-based, eco-friendly cleaning supplies. We also have a youth entrepreneurship component of Detailing Knights. So that's in full swing. We support high school and college students, and even those out of school, and even those coming out of detention, to show them how to start their own businesses using our company as a model. Service Kingdom is our social enterprise consultancy firm, so helping for-profit businesses start social enterprises or operate as social enterprises, and also nonprofit and charities get into the space of a business entity and starting a social enterprise. Also, Executives Power Up, being able to support entrepreneurs with that C-level suite. A lot of times when we're looking to scale, we need that strong team, whether it's your CEO, CTO, CMO, CIO, all the C's at that level, you need that team to be in that space. So with Executives Power Up, we help facilitate building that team for your company to make you more investable. And Black Panther's Cage, definitely a secret project in the works. Stay tuned. Think of Dragon's Den or Shark Tank, but with Black founders pitching to Black investors and Black support surrounding them to help them scale up. So stay tuned to that. But as Cosette mentioned, I'm also the co-founder of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network and part of the Empowered for Excellence business crew. Really, we just spend a lot of our time supporting entrepreneurs in the community, making sure that they have the right support to grow their businesses. Slide. So to tell you a bit about ACBN, we did start just over 5 years ago, and it was really designed to be a support for entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage to help them create strategies to grow their companies exponentially. And it started as a gap I saw as an entrepreneur running Detailing Nights and realizing that when we were ready to grow and scale our company and franchise across Canada and into the US, there weren't a lot of Black focused business organizations that I could go to get help with that kind of scaling. So we brought 6 other entrepreneurs together. Said, could we create this entity that would sit down with an entrepreneur, figure out what stage their business is in, and then help them create that strategy. And thus, ACBN Canada was born. You can go to the next slide. Over the past 5 years, we've been able to engage with over 5,000 Black entrepreneurs. We've seen about over 70% of them are female entrepreneurs, and the vast majority are the business owner or the CEOs or founders. But what we're most proud of is being able to partner with other Black focused business organizations. So being part of the Black entrepreneurship ecosystem ranges across Canada and being able to now point an entrepreneur to other supports that exist, whether geographically it's better, like if you're in Alberta, we can point you to supports in Alberta, or based on skills. So if you need help with business plans or cash flow or marketing, there's different organizations that do better things, so we can point you in the right direction to get that support. Next slide. And just a quick overview of the pillars that ACBN is built off. Of course, entrepreneurship is there. We feel like that's the foundation where even if you're young, it's a great time to be an entrepreneur because, hey, if everything goes wrong, you still have somewhere to live, if you're still with your parents. But even if you're working full time and have a career, having a side hustle or having a business on the side can help bring additional income into the household and opens you up to additional benefits. But using entrepreneurship as a tool for economic empowerment is where ACBN really leans into entrepreneurship. We want to see the community shift from a victim mentality to an empowering mentality. And entrepreneurship is one of the best tools that we can use to do that by helping more people become business owners, and not just business owners, but successful business owners. And now using convening events like this, whether it's in person or online, coming together so that we can share notes. That's why I love being able to do these info sessions, because as I'm on the hunt, as Chris Beth mentioned, we're always on the hunt for what grants are out there. So making sure that you're aware so that we don't miss the money just because, one, we didn't know, and two, we didn't get our applications in. So that's where talking about the access to funding is really where we want to lean into. And of course, that's why we're here today. So if you want to go to the next slide, but being able to create our own lending programs, even in partnership with Alternative Savings, we have the ACBN microloan program, but all the value partners that we've been able to collect, and we might need to have multiple slides to start putting the partners in, because this is definitely just a slice of those that we work with, whether it's Sexy or Sheridan, their Edge program, the Entrepreneurship Discovery and Growth Engine, ZSC, which is our business advisory partner, Calabash, which is a cooperative of expert service providers in the Black community, Dream Legacy Foundation that supports a lot of the work that we do, but they focus more, I would say, on Black tech founders. And also, they're one of the partners with the Black Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub. So keep an eye out for more information and reports and research coming out of the Knowledge Hub. One Full Circle, which is our brothers and sisters in Montreal. And last but not least, always love to give a shout out to the Toronto Community Benefits Network. Rosemary Powell has been a supporter from before day one. So I always want to say thank you there. But as we're on this slide, I want to get a promise from everybody that's on right now. So if you can put into the chat a 1 or a 2 or a 3, or just raise your hand that you commit to applying for at least one of the grants that we've mentioned today. So we put up this slide. So I want you to put that into the chat, because we're going to track and make sure that after coming to these info sessions, that we're not sitting on the information. We have to act upon it, because this slide shows what persistency and consistency can get you. We've been able to get funding from, whether it's pitch competitions, the city, the province, federal grants, whether it's as low as $500 all the way up to over $1 million. And that is not because Ryan Knight is an academic grant writer. As Chris Beth said, I consider myself more of a grant hunter, finding each and every grant that we qualify for so that we can make sure and get our applications in. And then the more that we get in, the more successful that we are going to be. So I find that a lot of times we'll do these info sessions, and I don't think we do a good enough job in following up to make sure that the information turns into action. So as I see the ones and the one pluses in the chat, be ready that we're going to follow up, because the grants that we talked about today are open and you qualify for them. I don't see, especially the TELUS one and the starter company, a reason why you shouldn't apply. And if you can go to the next slide, Chris. What really gets me excited is being able to help others get funding. So whether it's Rescue Youth International, shout out to Abigail Hamilton, who does great work in the Pure region, working with youth that are in the education and the justice system. We were able to work with her to get a grant and help them start a social enterprise. And grants were things that they definitely deserve, but they didn't have the bandwidth to be researching and writing applications. So we were able to support them with that. Business like Custodia, which is on the for-profit side, but didn't realize that they're operating a social enterprise, so would have missed $100,000 as a grant for their business just because they didn't know the language of social enterprise. So when we were able to introduce it, they were able to be successful getting that grant. And also New Life Project. Shout out to Brenda Williams up in Ottawa, being able to learn about the Supporting Black Communities Initiative and get that application in, and not feeling stuck because she had come to our sessions and then we worked with her to get the application done. So this is what we want to do for you. We want to make sure that you get the information, but also that you get it in so that we don't miss the money just because the applications weren't done. Next slide. So a couple things that we do with more in-depth working is we definitely work with people with business plans. We have a business plan blueprint. So that'll be for another day, another session. But the grant writing blueprint is something that we support entrepreneurs with. And I'll give you a bit of an insider secret. When we get grant blueprints done, these are things that we can now train AI with, because a lot of the information that you're going to be writing in grants and the questions that you're going to be answering, it tells the full story of your organization or your business and the work that you do. This is the type of information that you can train AI with, so it can be your co-pilot when writing these grants, and it'll make it a lot easier. So that, take that away if you want to write that down. When you get a grant writing blueprint done, that's something that you can use to train AI to write better grants. So the grant writing blueprint is something that we do in our Grant Hunter University. So if you don't know what I'm talking about with this blueprint, I always tell the story of with Detail Ignite. When we were first writing grants, and this was back in 2015, we were always getting declined. And because we were a for-profit company, it was difficult to find grants back then, even though we were a social enterprise. But then when we were able to bring on a grant writer, and they fine tune it, they add the right language, they add the right research and data, and then we were successful. That successful grant, and it was one of the biggest ones that we had gotten, I think it was over 200,000 with the Youth Opportunities Fund, that became the blueprint. So what we do is help people get their story into a document that becomes your blueprint, so that any grant that you find, you can now use the information to write the grant. And again, you would have about 80% of the grant done, and then you'd be able to just fine tune it and customize it to whichever grant that you're writing. So stay tuned for more information about the blueprint, but we can go on to the next slide. All right. One thing I did want to touch on quickly is looking at the business benefits finder. Actually, if you want to click it, Chris says, it'll take you to the website where the federal government has created a wonderful platform that helps you just answer, fill in the blanks. And those questions, when you answer them, you're able to then find out all the different grants that are available for you. You can also find out what wage subsidies there are. You can find out What else can you find out? Loan programs, resources is actually really well done. So it's a great place to start where you can put in, if you search Business Benefits Finder, pull it up, and that one was ISED, yeah. So we'll put this link into the chat so that you can check it out. But it's really fill in the blank, and then it'll spit out all the available grants and supports for your business that are available right now. But we can go back to and oh, and I did see a question. Can you please paste the list of grants you talked about on the previous slides? Yeah, the slides will be shared, so that list will be there. Some of them aren't available right now, so the ones that are active, like that's on this slide right now, you'll be able to click on it and it'll take you to the various websites. So we're not going to go to all of the websites. I do want to touch on the Black Opportunity Fund. They have a grant that's in partnership with CIBC. So CIBC created a loan program, and that loan program you can get up to $250,000. But to get prepared for the loan program, or even just to fine tune your business, the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce has a training program that you can go through where you get grants along the way. So you can get up to $2,000 in grants. And again, it can help you finish your business plan, help you improve your credit, or help you do your cash flow projections, and help you get ready for that loan, or it can just be used for getting your business better in general. The Digital Main Street is a program that allows you to get the Canada Digital Adoption Program, and they used to have a $10,000 grant called RAISE, which is the Racializing Indigenous Support for Entrepreneurs. The RAISE program hasn't been rebooted just yet. Every time we go to the site, it's still showing that the application button isn't there. So we're following up with about that program, but the Canada Digital Adoption Program is still there. So if we go to Digital Main Street, make sure and make an account, and then you can go through the Canada Digital Adoption Program. You can get up to $2,400 to help with your online marketing. So I do want to go to start a company first. So if we can click on that one. So the Start a Company program is a $5,000 micro grant that is done through the Small Business Enterprise Centers. So I do know there's 4 active right now. So Toronto's now closed. Sorry. So if you're in Toronto, the application for Start a Company was just closed. It was open really recently. Durham region does have theirs open, and also Brampton and Mississauga. So Brampton and Mississauga, they are doing info sessions about their Start a Company program. So if you go to the Small Business Enterprise Center, Brampton Beck or Brampton.ca and look for that. But we're going to send out the link for the Brampton one and the Mississauga one. So attending their info session about the Start a Company grant is the first step. So we'll make sure and get that information too. Other grant that we wanted to walk through is the BBPA BASE program. Yes, we'll get you the deck. So the BBPA BASE program, it's a great grant because it allows you to get work done for your business without having to come out of pocket. So what they did, it's called the Business Advisory and Implementation Development Services. So you're able to get services done for your business, and the service provider invoices the BBPA. So they did pare it down to 3 specific supports that you can get. You can get support with your business plan writing, you can get support with your accounting and bookkeeping, and you can get support with legal services. So you pick one of those services when you go through the program. And again, this application is very straightforward. So if I'm going to give you homework, this would be the homework to make sure that you signed up for the BASE program. And after that, they connect you with a service provider. They do the work for you. So you meet with them, figure out what you need to get done. And then when it's done, you'd have your business plan done, or you have your accounting done, or you'll have your legal thing done. And they invoice the EPA, so you don't have to come out of pocket to get these things done. So the base program is really well done. So definitely check that out. And I believe they just celebrated their 2nd-year anniversary, so it's still going strong. So the grant that we did want to do a little bit of a deeper dive with is the TELUS Stand with Owners grant. This is a grant that I am quite biased with because I'll show you why. So if you scroll down, and before we talk about the money that they give and this and that, where does it say past winners? I want you to scroll up a little bit. Is it there? Scroll up, scroll up. It doesn't say past winners. It was before. All right. Well, we'll get to that after. So the TELUS Stand with Owners grant, you're able to get up to $125,000 as a grant, and they have 5 different. They're going to be selecting 5 winners of the $125,000. Yeah, you can go back. That page is good. That page is good. But also, so before when they did this grant, it was only the $20,000 grant, and I believe one a month they were selecting. So they've upped it now where they have 5 grand prize winners and also 15 $20,000 winners. So we had mentioned it back in June. So if you scroll up just to the timeline, and we'll go there after, yeah. So if you scroll up to the timeline, yeah, go back for a second. Make sure that we know when this is gonna end. Back in June, we said, hey, keep posted about it, keep a lookout. But I don't think enough people have actually signed up for this. So this is gonna be your homework. And again, if you get stuck, we are gonna do a working group specifically on this grant. So I'm gonna walk through myself applying for the grant and then be able to answer questions to anybody that is following along. So that's going to be on August the 23rd at 1 o'clock. So we'll put together the Eventbrite and invite you to that. So if you're stuck in any way with going through this grant, definitely stay tuned for the working group where we can go through it together. But again, it does close September the 6th. So I feel they gave us ample time to apply for this. And we're going to make sure. So I would say if you have a business and you're on this call, must apply for this grant. Like at minimum, put it in so that you can see if you're successful. And I press this grant because if you go to the meet the past winners, if you scroll down, and as you're going to that, I do see a question. Can you apply for the starter company grant if your business is registered in Brampton but you're a resident elsewhere? If it's registered in Brampton, would have an address there. So I would say still go to the info session and ask, but I would still apply, especially if your business is registered there. So, if you scroll up, I think you have to go to 2021, is it on that page? Click on 2021 winners. So this is why I'm telling people to engage with this grant. 2 years ago, I was one of the recipients of the $20,000 grant with TELUS, and that's why I have this phone because TELUS gave me a phone plan, and I think I got an extra phone, so I shared a phone with somebody else. So Chris Benz got a phone. This grant is very competitive. I'm not going to say it's easy to get because it is across Canada, but 100% it is possible to win this grant because we saw money flow. So we want to make sure that, again, as best I can to coach you in getting your application in, that's what the working group is going to be for. We'll share what I had put in last time, what I'm going to be putting in this time. Now I'm going to try and go for that 125K now that they have a grand prize. But they've also been selecting people monthly. So this is where people are winning prizes from TELUS monthly. So even if you don't get the grand prize of the 20,000, you can still get highlighted and showcased through winning one of the monthly prizes. So we definitely want to make sure So I do want to show you that this grant is not intimidating. So if we go back, I want to show you the application process. And so Chris Beth, you're going to be my guinea pig here. So when you click on apply now, you'll see you do have to put in some initial information. So it just says, okay, email address, first name, last name. Yes, yes. It should show. All right, I do see a question. If you're a resident and business registered in Baltimore, can I apply for the grant? For the TELUS one, it is Canadian focused. I do know there was a Visa one that was North America. I have to check to see if it's still open, but for the TELUS one, yeah, I think this one is focused on Canada. So sorry about that. But if you email us, we can check to see which ones are open for the US. Problem. So again, if you wanted to follow along, in the chat, I'm gonna put in the link to the TELUS My Business Grant, just so you can get an idea. And with owners, I'll put this into the chat for you. So again, if we take these 3 minutes just to do the initial setup of this grant, I would encourage you to do it. So it's going to ask you for your first name, last name. It's going to ask you for initial information about your business. Then it'll take you to the application form. So when you click on continue, okay, so it just asks you to re-enter. So you can put dummy information there. And you'll see at the top, there's 5 main questions that they're going to be asking you. So as your homework, again, I would love for you to start the application, but if you do want support with how to answer these next 5 questions, feel free to join our working group that's going to be on August 23rd. So first question, tell us about your business. Standard. So if you've been following along and coming to our info sessions and know, or if you come to our working groups before, you know that we always take questions and then the answers we put into our blueprint. So the blueprint can be a Google Doc or it can be a Google Keep or an Evernote. This type of question, you should already have a base answer to. If not, feel free to attend and we'll walk you through getting that base answer done. But after we get it done, you're going to save it so you always have it. The second, how is your business changing the game in your industry? This is where now answering about how innovative what you're doing is, what differentiates you. It's really an extension of your value proposition. So that again should be saved into your blueprint. So when we go through the working group and go through each of these 5 questions, it's going to be slowly building out your blueprint. So we're going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So you can put test in there and go to the next question. So the third question that you want to start thinking about is what ways has technology helped you grow your business? And this is where now we should figure out how are we infusing things like AI, things like maybe blockchain might not be something that you're using right now, but what other types of technology are you using to really embrace what you're doing? And again, remember, TELUS is a technology company, so they want to hear things around technology that they actually can support you with. So if you're using your mobile plan or your internet in a specific way, these are things that TELUS can help you with. So they want to hear that type of technology. Fourth question, in the next year, what business goals do you plan to achieve? Again, this should be pulling from your business plan, But if you haven't thought of what the goals are for this next year, it's a great way to answer it here and then save it in your blueprint. So this is your homework. And the last question that we're going to go into for this grant is, how does your business make a positive impact in your local community? So this is where we start to talk about the social enterprise side of the business. One thing that I do know, when they called me and told me that we won the grant 2 years ago, was that we were a social enterprise. The great work that we do with the youth, teaching entrepreneurship in the community, in Brampton and in Peel, resonated with the judges. So that's something that they're, and again, they only have 5 questions, and this is one of the questions. So if you weight it evenly, 20% of what you're being judged on is that impact that you have in the community. So it's no longer just about making as much money as possible and growing as big as possible. It is also about, how does your company impact the local community? So things to think about: if you don't impact the local community in a positive way, I would say start to think of ways that your company can start impacting the community. So those are the 5 questions to start thinking about. If you get stuck, we are going to do a more in-depth. So we're going to actually answer all the questions as I apply again on August 23rd. So would love to have you there. We'll put together the Eventbrite and make sure that everybody gets invited to that. All right, next slide. So as we talk about social enterprise, previously there were grants that supported social enterprises called the Investment Readiness Program and also the Toronto Enterprise Fund. So those have been sunsetted. So they're closed at the moment, hopefully to be renewed in the future. But coming up is now the Social Finance Fund. But the Social Finance Fund are not grants. They're actually going to be investments into social enterprise entities. So what we've been doing is preparing for-profit and even nonprofit social enterprises that want to get that investment, to make sure that they build strong enough businesses that can be investable. So the Social Finance Fund isn't going to be only about grants. It is an investment. So we are supporting those that have social enterprises, really make a strong business case for the investment. So stay tuned for that one. All right. 2 grants that we did want to touch on with specific to nonprofits. One, the Ontario Trillium Foundation has their cycle of grants. Actually, if you click on it, Chrisbeth, as at the top where it shows our grants, you hover over that, you'll see the different types of grants that the Ontario Trillium Foundation has. I do know the Youth Opportunities Fund is open right now. So if you're looking to do projects in the community that either you're partnered with a youth group, or if you're under 29 and have a core group of 3 youth, you can apply for the Youth Opportunities Fund. They also have the Family Innovations Grant, where it's parents in the community that are creating projects. So it's a great way. But one thing I will say, government, provincial grants, and this one is very competitive and quite tedious to go through the process. So we've done a walkthrough of the Youth Opportunities Fund before. That is something that we can actually find on our website, or find the recording and we can send it out. Otherwise, when the deadline is coming up, we might do another working group. We'll see, because it is due, I believe, at the end of this month. It might be actually the 23rd. So I have to check when it's due, but we have done a recording of a walkthrough for the Youth Opportunities Fund already. So if you're interested in this type of grant, we can definitely send you that recording. But always keep an eye out for the Ontario Trillium Foundation and also the Ontario Grant Portal, which at any given time, there's 20 to 30 grants available through the Ontario government. Again, it's quite tedious going through the process of this portal, but if you do get stuck, if you scroll up all the way to the top, it'll show the different types of granting areas that they focus on. So if any of these resonate with you, it's good to touch base with us. We can help you navigate it, because I do know it's pretty tricky to navigate on your own. So if there is something here that you can execute, definitely let us know. Yeah, I did see a request for that link, so thank you, Chris Smith. All right, we can go to the next slide. I believe that is just a wrap up of the loan programs also. One thing that I do say is not rely on grants as much as I mean, there's a lot to love about grants. Getting money that you don't have to repay back is great in principle, but it's also not the only muscle that we want to strengthen. We don't want to rely on grants. I find grants is more of, I'll say, a bonus, cherry on the top. You already have a strong business that now grants can help amplify rather than waiting for grants to come in because one, it's not guaranteed, it's very competitive, and the timelines are not very good with when grants come in. So it's difficult to rely on grants to be able to grow your business. At points when you do want to grow your business, having access to capital, whether it's a loan or investment, is typically more reliable. So that's where we do have our own microloans. So ACBN can loan up to 25,000. There's other loan programs, whether it's Access Community Capital Fund, Rise Asset Development. The FACE Coalition can do up to 250,000. Futurepreneur, if you're under 29, no, under 39 or under 40, they can do up to 60,000. Alterna Savings has a plan with BDC. They can do up to 50,000. And each of the banks, I know RBC, CIBC, Bank of Montreal, Scotiabank launched theirs quite quietly, and also TD, I believe, launched theirs. So there's money out there as long as we're prepared to access the capital. And one thing that I do coach some of our clients with is use other people's money before you're saving. A lot of times we start our businesses digging into our own pocketbooks, our own savings, and our credit cards. And then when those are maxed out, then we're looking for funding and trying to get additional loans. And a lot of times, because you're maxed out, it's difficult to get capital. So when you do have savings, use that time to now go get capital. And a lot of times with the Black Opportunity Fund, they have a line of credit that you can get. So you can have that line of credit sitting until you need it. So the term loans, I know it's tricky because you repay it right away, like after the first month you're starting to repay it. But if you can get access to capital like a credit line or a business credit card, those are better to use initially than your savings. So I am a fan of grants. I am also a fan of loans if used and leveraged properly. But with all that to say, we always want to make sure that you know we exist to see you win, whether you're an entrepreneur or executive director of an organization. And we do that through the services that we provide. So with Empower Forex, so you can go to I think it's on this slide. Yeah, the next slide. If you truly, truly feel that you are stuck, we don't want you to be stuck and still not get applications in. So we're able to support you wherever you feel stuck. If it's just getting your blueprint done, we have the ability to invite you to our grant under university, which is self-paced and online. If you just want to take all the grant stuff off your plate and make a team do it for you, we do the grant writing where it's between 500 to 3,000, depending how complex the grant is. But even if you just need help with a funding strategy to find out the best way to get funds for your business or your nonprofit, or if you want us to do a summary of all the funds that are available, those options are there as well. The one thing is just don't feel stuck. Either it's free with these info sessions and we can help you get unstuck, a small amount of investment for our working group so that we can walk through and do something like the TELUS grant writing working group. So again, working alongside you so you can ask questions, refine your answers, and get it in. That's what the working group is for. So that's going to be August the 23rd. That's 2 weeks from now, Wednesday. It does have a charge of $50. And again, it's really for those that are stuck. There's 5 questions. If you want to see how I answer the questions for the application that we're going to be putting in, and if you want to ask questions on how better you can answer the questions, definitely join us there. Otherwise, you have been given your homework to get that application in. So if 2 weeks is not done, come and see us and we'll walk through it with you to get it done. And as I mentioned, the social enterprise challenge was put together because of the Social Finance Fund. So the Social Finance Fund is not a grant. So that grant is now, let me know, are you still hearing me okay? That grant, or there's no grant for the Social Finance Fund. So the investment is going to go to strong social enterprise businesses. So if you want to amplify and fine tune that business that you're running to make sure that social enterprise is viable and investable, definitely join us for the next challenge. I believe it's September. You can let me know that September 18th. Yes. So for that whole week, we work on strengthening your social enterprise. So looking forward to seeing you then. All right. And this one, so there's two hacks. One is just coming through and watching their broadcast through our Facebook group. So if you just want to watch the recording, or it's live, but you're just watching it, it's $97 for general admission. But if you want to join us an hour earlier, it's $297 for the VIP, where you get to ask questions. The speakers that we're going to have for the main training, they join us an hour early so that you can ask questions. So you get more customized answers to your specific social enterprise. But if you just wanted to watch the training, it would be the $97. That's going to be each day at noon for the 5 days. And Chris Beth, did you want to come on to invite people to our next event, including Clean Tech Innovation? Is the info sessions. One is tomorrow. I don't know if we're still accepting people to sign up for tomorrow. And the second one is going to be the 23rd as well.
Yes, and that will be an evening event. So we have, if you have your phones, you can definitely take a QR code and it will just bring you to the event page with all of the list of events that we have briefly talked about here. We do things like monthly networking sessions. The next info session with grants will happen again in September. But as you can see, between that time, we have the working group. So that will be posted on our website, as well as in the follow-up information that you get. The link will be ready for you then. But really an opportunity to continue to serve entrepreneurs in our community. And as you can see, some of our events are paid, some are unpaid. Really, the main premise is to get the value to you and build your capacity accordingly. The thing that I would just share here is, if you are thinking about getting started with us, either with a strategy session around grant writing services, or trying to find grants that match your business and portfolio, as Ryan says, I think the specialty is really grant hunting and grant writing as well. And we have a team of grant writers that support us. So again, with your phone, and this will be sent out to you, you can take the QR code, fill in the grant writing service form, and we will definitely follow up with you accordingly. And so the last one is just being able to connect with us through our various websites, and as well, again, these sessions happening on one Wednesday a month, the info session, and really a time now just for a couple of Q&A in the last 7 minutes. So thank you all for being here. I will stop sharing my screen. And as Ryan mentioned, the deck and the recording, I didn't say that, but the recording as well will be sent out to you after the event also. Any questions?
I always have questions.
And I did see there was only 6 ones in the chat, and there's like 15 people on here. So those others that are not taking this information to apply for grants, I'm challenging you to put that one in the chat so that you get your application in. But sorry, go ahead, Nairobi.
When down, we're still gonna be in break.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Mute though.
You just went
Okay.
on.
Sorry, I
You're
had
good.
background noise. Hi, Ryan. Hi, Chris Beth. Pardon?
Oh, I was saying good to see you.
Oh, okay, you too. Can you clarify what a social enterprise is, number one? And number two, can you also clarify what the difference between tech and clean tech is, so that we could know if any of these upcoming workshops suit us?
Yes. So the first one was social enterprise. It does sit in between on the spectrum of a for-profit business and a nonprofit. So a for-profit that already generates revenue when they begin to operate as a social enterprise is when portion of the profits, and typically they say about 50% or more, is reinvested into positive community impact. So they would then consider themselves operating as a social enterprise. With the nonprofit side of the spectrum, and nonprofit already has a community impact, but when they create an entity that is revenue generating and isn't, well, it's like a focused business entity. So it can't be just like a t-shirt sale or a bake sale, it's kind of a one-off fundraising event. It is a business entity that main focus is generating revenue where the profits now support the nonprofit operation.
Okay, and you
If
said
I
that
could
has to
just
be,
add to that. Sorry, go ahead.
sorry, you said that has to be 50% or more if you're a for-profit organization, 50% or more of your revenue has to go towards that?
Yeah, so it could look in different ways as well. So for example, let's say you're doing an employment social enterprise where you're hiring people that are from marginalized groups. Obviously, we know that you're paying them for that as part of your business model, right? So there's different ways to track that. But if I could just add, just keep in mind, whether you're not in for-profit or non-profit space, I talk about the 4 Ps, and the purpose, the core mission is to make a positive difference, and that in whatever capacity that looks like, it must be at the forefront of the business entity. And the second 2, so either you're impacting the planet positively or people positively, and that needs to be centralized around your messaging and the work that you're doing. And the last one, it has to be profit generating. So those are the 4 elements really in our info session. And that we didn't mention that, but we are hosting some info sessions and you can definitely learn more there.
And the
Thank you.
CleanTech one, yeah, high level, if your business idea, I'll say, has a positive eco impact. So if it's going to reduce water waste, clean energy, innovative ways to produce things that are recyclable or reusable, that all kind of falls under that clean tech umbrella. The umbrella is quite broad, but it's really ways of reducing ecological waste or improving environmental standards. Building a business around that.
Perfect, thank you.
Problem. And yes, just before we wrap up, was there any other questions? All right, so if we're good, again, you have your marching orders. Would definitely take a look at the TELUS grant. The link was in there to make sure that you can check it out. And a couple weeks from now, we're going to be back working on it together. So if you do get stuck anywhere in between, definitely join us for the working group. Otherwise, good luck with your applications and let us know if you get stuck.
Hey, thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, bye.